Земля – третья по удаленности от Солнца планета Солнечной системы, самая плотная, пятая по диаметру и массе среди всех планет Солнечной системы и крупнейшая среди планет земной группы, в которую входит также Меркурий, Венера и Марс. Единственное известное человеку в настоящее время тело во Вселенной, населенное живыми организмами. В публицистике и научно-популярной литературе могут использоваться синонимические термины «мир», «голубая планета», «число», «тера», «атлат», «тера». Научные данные указывают на то, что Земля образовалась из солнечной туманности около число миллиарда лет назад. Перейти к разделу «История Земли» число и вскоре после этого обрела свой единственный естественный спутник – Луну. Жизнь, предположительно, появилась на Земле примерно число миллиард лет назад. Число, то есть вскоре после ее возникновения. Перейти к разделу «Возникновение жизни». С тех пор биосфера Земли значительно изменила атмосферу и прочие абиотические факторы, обусловив количественный рост аэробных организмов, а также формирование озонового слоя, который вместе с магнитным полем Земли ослабляет вредную для жизни солнечную радиацию число, тем самым сохраняя условия существования жизни на Земле. Радиация, обусловленная самой земной корой, со времен ее образования значительно снизилась благодаря постепенному распаду радионуклидов, содержавшихся в ней. Кора Земли разделена на несколько сегментов, или тектонических плит, которые движутся по поверхности со скоростями порядка нескольких сантиметров в год. Изучением состава, строения и закономерности развития Земли занимается наука геологии. Перейти к разделу «Внутреннее строение». Приблизительно число поверхности планеты занимает мировой океан. Остальную часть поверхности занимают континенты и острова. На материках расположены реки, озера, подземные воды и льды, которые вместе с мировым океаном составляют гидросферу. Перейти к разделу «Гидросфера». Жидкая вода, необходимая для всех известных жизненных форм, не существует на поверхности какой-либо из известных планет и планетоидов Солнечной системы, кроме Земли. Полюсы Земли покрыты ледяным панцирем, который включает в себя морской лед Арктики и антарктический ледяной щит. Внутренние области Земли достаточно активны и состоят из толстого, очень вязкого слоя, называемого мантией, которая покрывает жидкое внешнее ядро, являющееся источником магнитного поля Земли, и внутреннее твердое ядро, предположительно, состоящее из железа и никеля. Физические характеристики Земли и ее орбитального движения позволили жизни сохраниться на протяжении последних миллиард лет. По различным оценкам, Земля будет сохранять условия для существования живых организмов еще в течение миллиард лет. Перейти к разделу «Будущее». Земля взаимодействует, притягивается гравитационными силами с другими объектами в космосе, включая Солнце и Луну. Земля обращается вокруг Солнца и делает вокруг него полный оборот примерно за число солнечных суток. Сидерический год. Перейти к разделу «Орбита» и вращение Земли. Ось вращения Земли наклонена на число относительно перпендикуляра к ее орбитальной плоскости. Это вызывает сезонные изменения на поверхности планеты с периодом в один тропический год. Число солнечных суток. Сутки сейчас составляют примерно часа. Луна начала свое обращение на орбите вокруг Земли примерно миллиарда лет назад. Гравитационное воздействие Луны на Землю является причиной возникновения океанских приливов. Перейти к разделу «Луна». Также Луна стабилизирует наклон земной оси и постепенно замедляет вращение Земли. Согласно некоторым теориям, падения астероидов приводили к существенным изменениям в окружающей среде и поверхности Земли, вызывая, в частности, массовые вымирания различных видов живых существ.
To cut to the chase, my wife and I spent for years trying to get pregnant before the wrong side of 35. We are currently 33 respectively now and are blessed with a wonderful infant son. My wife is a younger half-sister that she has been LC with for some time. The woman is entitled and toxic, and also her mother's golden child. We've refused to let her or my mill in the house since they both blatantly tried to make off with my wife's jewelry box a couple of years ago. The box contained a lot of valuable jewelry inherited from my wife's grandmother. Said jewelry is now in a safety deposit box as per my suggestion. My wife and I had nearly given up trying to conceive when it suddenly happened, and we were ecstatic. After we found out we were having a boy, we started looking into names. I ended up suggesting the name of my Scottish grandfather, and my wife loved it. So that's the name we settled on, but we made the mistake of posting about it on social media. Well, no surprise to the stereotype in this mess, my Sil was pregnant too. and was months further along than my wife and also having a boy. She decided to claim my grandfather's name for her own son. And not just the first name, but the middle name too. We called her pissed over what she was doing, and she smugly told us there's nothing we can do about it. Which she was sorta right. There was nothing we could do about it legally, as it's still not a crime to steal planned baby names. We realized that drama was exactly what my Sil wanted, and she thought that by taking the name for herself, we'd not be able to use it. I left and told her that while what she did was dirty and underhanded, we would keep our chosen name, and she could just deal with it whether she decides to go through with copying us or not. Well, my Sil's baby daddy called me and said I was an unreasonable dick for still wanting to use the name after Sil claimed it. I said she claimed nothing, and since we couldn't own the name, then neither could they. Before he ended the call, he threatened me by saying it'd be sorry if we didn't change the name. Months later, Sil has a healthy baby boy and names him my grandfather's name. We did not show up for the birth, both because of the pandemic, and because we simply didn't care to be there. Sil called us wanting congratulations, but we told her we simply didn't care, and that if she was still insisting we change our baby's name, then she'd be in for some big disappointment because we were not. Sil demanded I put my wife on the phone, but it was already on speaker and my wife spoke up and said she agrees with me entirely. We weren't changing the name. Sil hung up on us, but soon started sending emails with text walls of names, even suggesting similar ones. I responded back that the name was from my grandfather, and that's why we were not changing it. She shut up and we didn't hear from her again till after our own son was born. 2 months later we were blessed with our son. He came out perfect, and we named him just as we'd intended. Well, no surprise, my Sil called us a few days after the birth to scream in our ears that we copied her son's name. I pointed out she was the real copycat since she had no familial ties to the name, and we did. And anyone who looks at our family trees could see that. Then my wife spoke and said after the attempted theft of her grandmother's jewelry, she no longer considered Sil her sister, and would have nothing to do with her nephew either. For months we were bombarded with messages and emails from my wife's side of the family. Half were on our side after finding out the whole story, the other half were not. And Sil's baby daddy, true to his word, showed up at my door to make me sorry. I'm not sure what his plan was, but I pretty much towered over him. I'm 61 and well built from regular exercise and 3 trips to the gym a week. He on the other hand was very skinny and about 56 with a baby face that was badly hidden by a slim beard. I told him my house has cameras, and to get off my property and never come back. He just yelled a few obscenities at me and drove off in his beat-up old car. Sil and Mill called us from a different number to yell at me for making Sil's baby daddy feel emasculated. I didn't even threaten the man, just told him to leave and not come back. And if he didn't want to feel emasculated, then he shouldn't have come knocking. Then they tried to bring up the issue of the baby name again and demanded we change our son's name as he's so young. So there's still plenty of time to do it. We held our ground and told them that they were bonkers to still think they were in the right after they copied our choice of name just to try and get one over on us. I said Sil didn't even name her son out of love, but out of spite just to try and stick it to my wife for no good reason. Then my wife called them both out on the way she was treated growing up, how entitled Sil and Mill have always been, and how she was glad to leave them far behind. And she wants nothing from them, and they won't have anything from us. That left Sil sobbing, and Mill called me a royal bastard before hanging up the phone. That was unsee again for a little while till Sil called us again some time later to bitterly tell us we'd won. She and her baby daddy got in a huge fight and he left. He was apparently very sore that Sil didn't let him even give their son a middle name from his family. And he said he was sick of the bullshit and wanted his son named after him and not some guy he wasn't even related to. Sil finally caved and they got the boy's birth certificate reissued with a completely new name, which cost Sil around $500, or so she claims. Sil then demanded we at least compensate her for the name change, plus another $100 for the emotional damage, as now she's going to have to get used to calling her son by a different name. We left and said this would have never happened if she hadn't stolen our baby name to begin with, and we didn't owe her anything. Since then we've been antsy with Sil and Mill, but my Phil, who's a very nice man and divorced from Mill for obvious reasons, would come by often and loves his grandson. From what he and other relatives told us, the situation between Sil and her baby daddy was pretty tumultuous. But we don't care, not our monkeys, not our circus.